Hi Bumblebees, happy Tuesday. So I have a question for you. What am I holding in my hand? What is this? It's the earth, you're right. And what is the earth? The earth is our home and it's our planet. Can everyone say planet? Earth. You're right. And tomorrow is a very special holiday. Tomorrow is Earth Day. And what is Earth Day all about? We celebrate how to keep the earth clean. So yesterday, we shared some pictures with you of what might make the earth feel sad. Does anybody remember what might make earth feel sad or make it feel sick? It's called pollution. Can everyone say pollution? And that's when we make our earth dirty. And then our earth gets sick because it's so dirty, earth can't breathe. So some examples of pollution would be lots of smoke in the air, or putting our trash on the ground or in our oceans. And so if there's lots of smoke and dirt in the air and in our water, how do you think earth feels? Show me on your faces. Yeah, earth feels pretty sad. So today I'm going to read you a story about when earth might feel sad and how we can fix it. Has anyone seen this book before? Down here. Whose name is that? It's the author's name, but do we know who wrote this book? We know this author really well. All of his books rhyme. He's an author and he's an illustrator. Who do we think it is? It's Dr. Seuss. And does anyone know who this is? You might have seen him in a movie. It's the Lorax. Can everyone say the Lorax? So today we're going to read the Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows in the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today, where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lives there. Ask him, he knows. So what do you notice about this town? What do you notice? Is it bright and colorful? No. So what do you think happened here? What do you think? You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkin on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkin cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail. And the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Would you pay the Onceler? Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you've paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his grovulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-ma-phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Slup! Down slups the whisper-ma-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the Swami swans rang out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place, and first I saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. So what's different? What do you notice about the town? What's different here than it is now? The grass is green, the sky is blue, the clouds are white, and there's lots of truffula trees. So something changed, something happened. Let's see what happened. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I kneaded a thneed. A thneed? What's a thneed? What do you think? The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him, that's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpest and bossy. Who is that? Who popped out of the stump? It's the Lorax. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? So is the Lorax feeling happy or is he feeling sad? Look, Lorax, I said, there's just no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There's no one on earth that would buy that fool thneed. Would you buy a thneed? Yes or no? But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax, you poor guy. You can never tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Be quiet, if you please. I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts and I said, listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. To get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch, turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Sitch. So who'd he call? And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. So what are they using to make these thneeds? What are they using to make the thneeds? Then, oh baby, oh, my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. So it cuts down 4 trees at a time. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round, and my poor barbaloots are getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies." Look at the barbaloots. Do they look happy or do they look sad? Why are they sad? What's happening to their food? They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. "Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads. Of the thneeds I shipped out, I was shipping them forth, to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. So what do you think's happening? What do you notice is coming into the sky from the factory? What do you see? Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax," he coughed and he whiffed, he sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled, he sniffed. "Onceler," he cried with a crufulous croak, "Onceler, you're making such smogulous smoke." See what's coming out of the factory. And what does smoke cause? What did we say before? Pollution. My poor swammy swams, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. So how are the swammy swams feeling? They're sad, they're slumped over like this. So how do you think the earth is feeling? If the swammy swams are sad and slumped, but there's pollution in the air, so how do you think earth is feeling? "And so," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here." So is the Onceler making good choices? Is he helping our earth or is he hurting our earth? What do you think? "What's more," snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, "let me say a few words about gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup, also schloppity-schlop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you." "You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary." So the factory's putting smoke and smog in the air, and look at the cloud. What color is the cloud? Is it still white and puffy? No, it's gray. So do you think it's clean or do you think it's dirty? It's dirty, you're right. And the factory is putting all the globby glob in the pond. So he's polluting the air, but he's also polluting the water. You're right. So is he helping the earth? No. And he's hurting the fish and all the animals. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, "Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say, bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs." So is the Onceler a bucket filler or a bucket dipper? What do you think? I think he's being a bucket dipper. Was he being very nice to the Lorax? No. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. When we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. Are there any trees left? No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. So what did the Onceler do? The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, sad backward glance as he lifted himself up by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. So does anybody live here anymore? No, all the animals left, and now the Lorax is gone too. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. But that was long, long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. So what do you think we could do to fix this town? Make a prediction. What do you think? But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last truffula seeds, and the truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. The end. So, do you think the little boy should plant the truffula seed? Yes, because we know that planting trees helps save our earth. So, hopefully, you can go out and do something to help save our planet, just like that little boy is going to plant the truffula seeds. Okay, so take a minute to talk with your families. Was the Onceler a bucket filler, or was he a bucket dipper? And what did he do that hurt the earth? Okay. I hope you like that story, and I'm going to post some craft ideas, all how you can make the truffula trees, okay?